Well, trying to understand fractions can be difficult if you are talking about common fractions, things like a half, 2/3, 3/4, 1/4, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. Now, if we were to have similar fractions, what's a similar fraction to a half? And if we were to have a similar equivalent fraction to 2/3 or a different fraction, but it's the same as a quarter, a different fraction, equivalent to 3/5. So we could have different numbers under here. Say, if I was to make this 10, how many tenths is the same as a half? Well, if I times that by 5, I must multiply that by 5. And then we've got 5/10 is the same as a half. 2/3, if I was to have a 12 in this position, how do I go from 2/3 to something 12ths? Well, from 3 to 12, you have to times that by 4. So if you times that number by 4, you will get 8. So that's 8 over 12. Alright, let's do one for a quarter. Let's try 24. Well, what number goes on top? So it's still a quarter. It's an equivalent fraction to a quarter. Now, what do we multiply 4 times to get to 24? If I times 4 times 6, I must multiply 1 times 6. And so 1 times 6 is 6. So these are equivalent fractions. Now, it doesn't always have to be the number underneath, the denominator. You could be talking about the numerator, and we might have something like 21 on the numerator, and we say, well, what does the denominator equal? So in this case, 3 times what is 21? So 3 times 7, we must multiply the 5 times 7. And so we've got 21 over 35. These are all called equivalent fractions. And it's useful if you have to find which fraction is smaller and which fraction is bigger. So if you have something like 15 over 28, and you have 2/7, and you want to say, well, which is smaller? And if you make 7 a 28, 7 times 4, you must multiply that by 4. So the equivalent fraction for 2/7 is 8/28. So 8/28 is less than 15/28. So equivalent fractions can be useful to help just determine which fraction is smaller and which fraction is bigger. I hope this has helped. Until I talk to you again, stay happy.